Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I have good table manners.
And I am the Truth Commission.
Welcome to episode 281, Survivor Series 1997.
Gang rules.
With a Z.
That's right. Gang rules, y'all.
That's right. I mean, must be a bunch of faction fights on this one or something.
Yeah. We have like 3 gangs, at least, in the company. Maybe more. Is the Heart Foundation a gang? Or are they just brothers?
So this is the 11th annual Survivor Series produced by WWF. It took place on November 9th, 1997 from the Molson Center in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, with an attendance of 20,593 people.
What a number.
Yeah.
It's great stuff. And the Molson Center, I imagine, is where... Who plays? I don't know much about hockey, but it's got to be a hockey arena.
The Canadians?
No.
Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
I know, I kind of said that with a question mark, but no, that's,
Okay, you know.
that's the
I
name.
didn't realize that.
I don't know if this is where they play or not.
I didn't
but-
realize there was just a team called the Canadians.
It's a lot of Quebecers, though.
Quebecians.
Something like that.
No, you had it right.
But we are in Montreal,
We are.
Quebec, Canada. So Shane, did you do what you do?
Well, I did. Yes, we are in Montreal. The great MQC here at the Molson Center for Survivor Series 1997. There's really no soft way around just announcing what this drink is. This is the Montreal Screwjob.
Oh, it's actually called that.
Yes.
I did not know that. I saw your little recipe as you were putting it together, and I did not see the name.
It was one of those that I found on like a Reddit thread that said, use this, this, and this. I was like, okay, but what portions do I need for this, this, and this? So then I just looked up a brown sugar old-fashioned.
Okay.
This one it's a play on an old-fashioned. It is Canadian Club whiskey with some brown sugar, some water, dashes of bitters, and then
Angostura?
instead of an orange, I used a lemon, the rind. Served on some of Michael's nice little boba ice with one of these big ass square pieces. Initially, it just kind of looked like a shot sitting on a block of ice, so I had to doctor up some brown sugar water to add to it to stretch it out a little bit, and then I had to add a splash more whiskey to it. But I mean, it's
Pretty good.
ain't bad at all.
Sweet, but I mean, an old fashioned is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's sweeter than it should be because I just got heavy-handed on the oh shit, I need to add more stuff to it real quick because otherwise it's just a shot.
Just thicken it back up.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love an old fashioned. Bit of a Manhattan guy.
It's got a nice
Manhattan
little
with
warmth
a
to
lemon.
it, a nice little sweetness to it.
Manhattan with lemon is my favorite.
I don't know if I've ever had that.
It's just the thing I decided to do. Rounds it out. It's nice.
I had a regular old-fashioned, a regular Manhattan back in the day when I was learning my way around a bar. Like, what are these old drinks that I need to try in case somebody comes in? And the two that I started off with were a Manhattan and a Harvey Wallbanger.
You ever do the lemon and whiskey one? Whiskey sour with the egg white?
With an egg white? No, we weren't that fancy at Olive
Ooh,
Garden.
it's good. I've only done it at home, but it sounds gross. But yeah,
It does sound gross.
Like you put
It
an
looks
actual
gross too.
whole
Yeah.
actual egg white in it, or is this one of those things where you like
No, you
froth it and make like a?
Well, you put the stuff in there without ice, shake it for like 10 or 15 seconds, and then you basically turn the egg white into foam, and then you add ice, shake it for a little bit longer, strain it out, and then it's like this frothy, delicious thing. It doesn't smell great because it kind of smells like an egg white, but it tastes great.
One day I'll have to try one of those just to see just to see what it's like and say that I tried it.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time as Survivor Series. Starship Troopers would release to theaters the same weekend.
He's scared. Is it he's scared or afraid? When Doogie Howser says it at the
I think
end.
he's scared.
Yeah, he's like, he's scared of us. It's so good.
Yes, I don't know. I was working at Blockbuster when this movie came out, and I took it home, and I think I got like 30 minutes into it, and...
You gotta...
Nope.
Shane, you gotta give it another shot.
Maybe
it's
one day.
It's a thickly laid on satire. What's crazy is that when it came out, it was like panned critically, and people didn't realize the satire, but the first thing that shows up on the screen is basically a modified Iron Eagle. It's like, oh no, this is Earth is the Nazis here. And we're just killing these bugs. But I love Paul Verhoeven very, very much. I mean, RoboCop's one of my all-time favorite movies. American Jesus satire. But Starship Troopers is up there as well.
I mean, Casper Van Dien.
Such a handsome
Patrick
boy.
Harris, Jake Busey, Michael Ironside, Patrick Muldoon.
This movie's so funny.
Yeah. Eric Brustcotter, I don't...
Denise Richards, the curly-haired girl.
Rue McClanahan.
Yeah.
Denise Richards, I think she is my main problem with this movie. I do not like Denise Richards as an actress whatsoever, and this is around the time of Wild Things. I think this may have been right before Wild Things. But,
Yes, Wild Things didn't come out until 98.
But you know, yeah.
She's horrible. She's just...
Yeah, but Casper Van Dien's terrible too.
I know. They're all equally terrible, and then you got Doogie Howser.
But they're cast because like the softball pitch for this movie is like 90210 in space, yeah, and then obviously
and then they tried that years later.
The
with
fascism satire, yeah. But did they?
I mean, with the cast that they brought on there, it was just like, here's a bunch of pretty people in space.
But I mean, yeah, no, I adore Starship Troopers. I've seen it countless times. I probably like it more every time I watch it. I like it a whole bunch.
Sure, I'll give it a try at some point.
You got to be in
I'm
there.
trying to remember. It had sequels, right?
You got to be in there. The sequels are not
good.
Don't
watch the sequels.
The movie was loved by like kids because it was violent and there was boobs in it and stuff.
Yeah,
but like
totally.
But the movie is not like it comes off as this stupid thing, but it's Paul Verhoeven. Like everything he's doing is very deliberate, so you kind of have to go into it ready to watch something stupid filtered through like something so obviously like Sledgehammer. The point is like couldn't hit you over the head any harder.
You see like Dina Meyer in the movie.
Yeah.
I liked her on Friends.
But Matt.
I didn't love this movie by any means because I was probably one of those kids that like was like, ooh, boobs.
First time I saw it, that's how it was too. It's like boobs and gore.
Yeah.
But then as an adult,
but then Neil Patrick Harris was in it, and I went, oh, cool, Neil Patrick Harris, because I loved him from Doogie Howser, of course, and seeing him in something different was fun. The acting's not good in it by any means.
But I don't think it's not supposed to be.
But it's an interesting take on the sci-fi movie.
I mean, do you love Total Recall and RoboCop?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is like Total Recall, RoboCop, and Starship Troopers is like his trilogy of science fiction, and obviously RoboCop is the best one. Total Recall and Starship Troopers, depending on the day, I would put them at 2 or 3.
I mean, I don't know if you include Hollow Man in like one of his better ones, but he had a run there of like 5 or 6 straight good movies that or movies
that are interesting,
that at least are interesting.
Yeah, like Showgirls is insane.
I love Showgirls, and it's more than just strippers. Like
for me, Showgirls like barely makes it's the least sexy movie on the planet.
Yes, absolutely.
Not sexy at all. But I don't know I can't figure out what the point was. Whereas with like Starship Troopers, RoboCop, like Total Recall, I completely get it. But with Showgirls, like I don't understand. But I'm entertained.
I think had it been anybody but Elizabeth Berkley playing that role, I think that movie would have taken off. But it was
I disagree.
Her
not because of her.
Her dry humping Kyle MacLachlan in the strip club is the worst. Like, if I were ever to go into a strip club and a stripper started dry humping me like she did, I would just literally go,
I'm going.
Please stop.
Yeah.
Please stop.
Yeah.
Hands.
Yeah. I feel like
because it just looked like it hurt.
Well, yeah, it looked like it hurt, but no, I mean, the movie caught as much flack as it did because they took Jessie Spano and put her as...
I mean, we'll cover Showgirls in maybe 2 years from now.
I mean, we won't, but...
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about it. Matt's going to put it on there, for sure. When the week that Showgirls releases.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was before this movie. That was 1995.
Duh.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, had it been any other actress, had you put Alyssa Milano in there, it probably would have been just fine. But they took Jessica Spano, who was the wholesome, brainy girl from Saved by the Bell, and I understand her wanting to break into an adult role, but it was just
bizarreness.
Yeah, the script
of this movie is already
because Gina Gershon
is incredible.
That movie and Bound are her masterpieces.
I mean, that's probably the only good performance in the movie. And I adore Kyle MacLachlan. He's one of my favorite guys on the planet as far as acting, because he's a Lynch guy, and I'm a Lynch guy too. But yeah, Showgirls is a conundrum wrapped inside of a box owned by a guy named Pandora.
It's so bad that it's great.
Yeah, it's incredibly entertaining.
Like my friend Jesse and I mean, yeah, we have no cameras here, so you can't see what I'm doing, but we just randomly in conversation will just throw our hands down like we're throwing down some little crystals on the floor to take out a showgirl.
But yeah, Starship Troopers fucking rules. It's so good.
I guess Casper Van Dien is living and breathing on this Starship Troopers thing. He was literally in a sequel that came out this year.
Yeah. I mean, the sequel...
Or it's a video game. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, but they're not...
But that was his claim to fame, really, he was Starship Troopers, and he was on one of the 90210 or Heights or something like that. I don't remember which one, but Casper Van Dien.
He was in Alita Battle Angel.
Was he?
Yeah.
I love that movie. What a weird movie.
Like, going back here to, like...
You know what's great? And they'll never make the sequel.
He was in 7 episodes of 90210.
But to bring it back to wrestling, somehow, it always can be. In the comic Alita Battle Angel, which I own and have read, there is an American character. The movie stops at, like, a certain point, but there's much more story that happens in the comic book. The comic book's probably from, like, the early 90s or late 80s or whatever, but there's an American character, and his name is Figure 4. Because I assume the writer liked wrestling, and he was like, well, he's American, so he does the Figure 4. So his name is Figure 4. But, yeah. That movie basically stopped at a spot where it's like, all right, sequel, and we're out. And it's like, oh, well, nobody saw it, except for me. So, like, they won't ever get a sequel.
Never seen it.
It's fun.
Did you not like Casper Van Dien on One Life to Live?
I didn't really watch him I didn't watch One Life to Live all that much. Like Ryan Phillippe, yes, I saw him on back in the day.
Enough about the Starship Troopers. There's something else this week. Shane, it's your birthday.
Woo! I have a gift.
Do you?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's not heavy. It's not heavy. I only wrap Christmas gifts. Not any other kind of gift. Not wrestling related stuff.
Dude. Central Perk!
I don't think there's anything.
Okay, I'm not going to be sure.
Shane's a big Friends.
Yes.
Friends person.
A big, huge Friends freak. And my little coffee station at home currently has it's supposed to be a light up Central Perk sign, but it didn't work when I got it.
I saw that one and it looked cheap. And
yes.
it
was from Five Below, so it was seriously $5.
Oh yeah, I saw another one. It might have been similar idea where it lit up, but I was like, the one on the show doesn't light up.
But yeah,
that one looks better.
The light up, the ones that I've seen light up, they're just this blob of light. You don't really see anything unless you're far, far away. But this is incredible. So thank you so much.
No problem. It's classy. You got to keep it classy.
Well, let's talk some Survivor Series. We start off with a video package about our main event, where we get footage of the Iron Man match from WrestleMania 12, with Brett believing the wrong man won, and he doesn't like the phony Shawn Michaels.
You're phony.
The Heartbreak Kid says he's the icon who can still go, and Hart isn't a better man than him, before saying he wrestles because he likes it, while the Hitman does it because he thinks all of this is his.
I mean, Brett's right.
We then get clips of SummerSlam, where Brett won the title because of Shawn's errant chair shot, followed by Hart saying that the degenerate doesn't know what dignity and pose are, only for Michaels to counter by saying he's the showstopper and the main event. Both men threaten each other as we see scenes of their various confrontations, as Milton Bradley's Karate Fighters presents the 1997 Survivor Series. Jim Ross then welcomes everyone to the show, joined by Jerry the King Lawler, before asking who is the man, that this match has been 18 months in the making, that both men believe that they are the best in the business, and they refuse to lose.
That's true.
Yep.
JR also introduces the Spanish and French announce teams as we go to our first match. The Headbangers of Mosh and Thrasher, and the new Blackjacks of Blackjack Bradshaw and Blackjack Windham, versus the Godwinns of Henry O and Phineas I. Godwinn, Road Dogg Jesse James, and Badass Billy Gunn in a Survivor Series elimination match.
The badass is born, eh?
His name is Barry.
Who? Oh, I'm like, what?
What?
Oh, is it? Maybe. Well, it's Blackjack Windham.
Yeah.
It's Barry Windham.
Yeah.
I know. It's just it sucks that they can't just call him fucking Barry Windham. He's Barry Windham. God damn it.
But he's a blackjack now, just like his daddy.
I know. It's just I hate when I see guys that are better than the gimmick
You know,
they're given.
as they taught us, as Mike Tenay taught us previously, those '80s wrestlers were all about second generation. So.
Yeah. Good callback.
We haven't seen the Blackjacks since WrestleMania 13, episode 247. And Road Dogg since In Your House 14, Revenge of the Taker, episode 251. And Jesse James has returned to his old nickname and approached Rockabilly about joining forces on a shotgun Saturday night. But it seemed like Gunn was going to side with his manager, Honky Tonk Man, only to smash a guitar over his head.
Later, Honky.
The two would win matches by cheating and antagonizing other teams, such as smashing a boombox over the head of Thrasher, which we're shown some footage of, destroying the Blackjacks' hats, and stealing the shoulder pads of the Legion of Doom.
That's the one you don't want to mess with Doom like that. The also the boombox, they show the footage, and there was juice on TV. Blood from the boombox.
Little Hardway.
Television. Crazy.
Showing some attitude.
Meanwhile, the Godwinns had lost their tag belts to the Road Warriors, which led to them kicking Cletus to the curb.
Who needs?
Well, that was fast.
Yep. And the match gets started with Pig being worked over with shoulder blocks, power slams, and strikes by the Blackjacks. But when he tries to go for a tag, only Hogg is willing to tag in. Henry delivers his own shoulder blocks and strikes, only for Bradshaw to answer with turnbuckle smashes and a Russian leg sweep for a 2 count. And Bradshaw tries for a suplex, but it's blocked and reversed for a near fall, followed by a hard whip to a corner and a clothesline for a 2 count. Bradshaw then reverses a whip into an ab stretch, transitioning it into a roll-up for the pin to eliminate Henry O.
I mean, Henry O is eliminated.
Phineas jumps in to attack Bradshaw, but they start trading strikes, allowing Windham to return to nail a vertical suplex for a near fall, before also delivering a gut-wrench suplex for a 2 count. Windham continues with a clothesline, turnbuckle smashes, and a whip to a corner, only to charge into a back elbow, followed by Pig hitting a clothesline for the pin to eliminate Windham.
Mary Windham out with a clothesline.
Yep.
Shame.
Former world champion there.
I know.
Mosh comes in to stomp away on Phineas, working the arm, but Pig escapes to team up with Gunn for a double back elbow. And the crowd, and not a small portion of them, start chanting derogatory words towards Billy as he keeps up the attack.
It's a bad F word.
Until he runs into a boot, allowing Mosh to charge out of a corner with a clothesline.
To be fair, it's not the way to put this, but Billy did call these two teams the Blackjacks and the Buttbangers, or I believe it might have been Road Dogg. He had the mic. They had the mic when they came to the ring earlier, and I was like, they said Buttbangers. That's crazy.
The headbanger with chokes and right hands before going for a corner splash, only for Gunn to catch and slam Mosh down face first for the pin to eliminate Mosh.
Shout out Mosh's Napalm Death shirt. That's cool. Good taste. Better than Manson for sure.
Thrasher and Phineas trade arm drags, holds, and roll-ups, while Billy and Road Dogg hug on the floor, followed by Lawler asking JR where McMahon is, only for him to say he's busy right now.
Yeah, he's busy.
A little bit.
He's nervous.
And hugging on the floor is not going to make those F words disappear any
Absolutely
quicker.
not.
Pig goes for a body slam, but Thrasher floats over, kicks Phineas in the gut, and takes him down with a facebuster before nailing a stage dive for the pin to eliminate Pig. And Jesse James attacks from behind, but he's taken down with a hip toss, allowing the headbanger to tag out to Bradshaw, who delivers multiple short arm clotheslines and a gut-wrench powerbomb. Billy then shoves Bradshaw from the apron, so the Blackjack starts wailing on him, only for Road Dogg to cradle him up from behind for the pin to eliminate Bradshaw. Even though Blackjack keeps going after everyone until the ref can get him out of the ring.
Well,
That's the Bradshaw, I know.
Yeah. Cantankerous.
It also is a very close 3 count. Thrasher stomping on James until a reversed whip allows Gunn to kick him in the back from the apron, when Road Dogg would go for a pump handle slam, but the headbanger hip tosses out of it, followed by Thrasher whipping James, who blind tags to Gunn. Road Dogg and the headbanger repeat the spot, with Thrasher lifted up and countering in mid-air to land on top for a pin attempt, allowing Billy to fly off the top with a leg drop that misses badly. Sandman badly.
Yeah.
But they still make the cover for the pin to eliminate Thrasher. So your survivors of the match: Road Dogg Jesse James, Badass Billy Gunn,
The New Age Outlaws.
They're not named that.
No, not yet.
Sorry.
But I mean,
The Braca Roadies.
these two guys. There was a nice replay of the leg drop where I was like impressed that they did it so quickly, where they got it from the angle where it looked like it hit, which is from the feet of the headbanger.
And that takes us back to where Vince McMahon is right now, so busy trying to make things look good from the back.
We then go to our second match. The Truth Commission of Jackyl, Recon, Sniper, and the Interrogator versus the Disciples of Apocalypse of Crush, Chainz, Skull, and 8-Ball in a Survivor Series elimination match.
Is that Skull or is that 8-Ball?
Yes.
And Jackyl would be better known as Don Callis.
Okay.
Oh.
Because I was like looking at him and I was like, well, he has too much hair to be Bob Holly, but he kind of has a Bob Holly-ish face, and we haven't seen Sparkplug in a while. But I was like, why do I know this guy? Why do I know this guy? I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to let Matt tell me. That's 110% Don Callis.
Don Callis Omega? Don Callis?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Okay.
All that hair.
Recon will soon become known as Bull Buchanan.
Yeah.
And the Interrogator will become known as Kurgan.
Yeah.
So who is the sniper?
Some guy.
Just a sniper.
Pretty crazy
Yeah.
that 97, they're like, what if we had a guy that was the bad guy from Highlander? Because I mean, the Interrogator, Kurgan, is the name of the bad guy in Highlander.
I think it's a couple... Well, maybe it's 98 before he becomes Kurgan.
Yeah,
but it might be 99.
Like, that movie's from, 88 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just very funny. I was like, wait, they're just going to... Okay, that's fine. It's fine. I'm not mad.
So a brawl erupts to start the match until the ring's clear of everyone except Chainz and the Interrogator, when the Disciple ducks a clothesline to deliver mounted punches. An Interrogator escapes and goes for a corner splash, only for Chainz to avoid and nail several clotheslines that barely faze the big man, who catches the Disciple going for another with a side slam for the pin to eliminate Chainz.
The Kurgan has one move.
Skull and 8-Ball then both attack, leading to everyone jumping in the ring again. But it quickly is down to Recon and Skull, with the Commission taking control with clotheslines and body slams. And Jackyl wants some action, so he leaps in with a flying knee, only for Skull to no-sell and hit a side slam for the pin to eliminate Jackyl.
Dang, it's crazy that Jackyl's they refer to him as this David Koresh type of character, of this,
Because he's the one that has long hair.
Yeah, and these other guys are giant.
He was always a better talker than he was.
Yeah.
Because he just didn't have a lot of size on him.
No, he's a small guy, but he has these giant guys named Sniper and Interrogator and Recon. And then he's this guy that's the exact opposite of a military man in size and look.
Sniper enters the fight, catching Skull with a big boot and a back elbow for a 2 count, as Jackyl joins the announcers.
There he is.
Sniper continues with a crossbody for a near fall. Recon flies off the top with a double axe handle, only to get caught on the way down with a shot to the gut, allowing Crush to tag in and deliver back elbows, a body slam, several leg drops, and a belly-to-belly suplex for a 2 count. And Skull returns, telegraphing a back body drop, with Recon flipping over and hitting a thrust kick and a shoulder block that sends Skull out to the floor. So 8-Ball just enters the ring to nail a clothesline for the pin to eliminate Recon.
Sure.
Little twin magic.
Yep.
Sniper returns to wail on 8-Ball, but a missed clothesline allows the Disciple to hit a swinging neckbreaker for a near fall. And Skull comes back in to team with his brother for a double spinebuster. But the Interrogator distracts the ref, so it's only a 2 count. Skull's whip is reversed, sending him right into the Interrogator, who nails him from behind, allowing Sniper to deliver a Bulldog for the pin to eliminate Skull.
Thanks for coming.
8-Ball with a corner clothesline and an elbow drive to Sniper, tagging in Crush to keep up the attack with a snap suplex for a near fall, before going to a head scissors. And 8-Ball returns with right hand, double thrust to the throat, followed by whipping Sniper, where he blind tags the Interrogator before being DDT'd by the Disciple. But the big man's right there to nail a side slam for the pin to eliminate 8-Ball.
You get a side slam. And you get a side slam. Everybody gets a side slam.
Crush fights valiantly versus the Interrogator, with Sniper's tag back in, reversing a whip to catch him with a tilt-a-whirl slam for the pin to eliminate Sniper. But the Interrogator comes right back in to nail another side slam for the pin to eliminate Crush. So your survivor of the match is the Interrogator.
You realize how close Crush got to being the sole survivor of his team? I mean, he was the sole survivor of his team, but
I'd say that Crush deserves it more than the Interrogator.
I don't know. Crush deserves nothing.
I don't know that I think I feel the same way about the Interrogator.
Bring back 8-Ball. Give it to him.
I do love at the end of this, Jackyl says, "I win Survivor Series." But little fucking weasel.
We go outside where fans are asked who they think will win the main event. They're pretty split, as one guy thinks Sean will win, but even if he doesn't, he wants it to happen. A woman still believes Brett is the best there is, was, and ever will be, followed by answers by others in French.
Yes, all the French people are pro-Brett. Anybody with a, Quebec accent.
A Canadian luchador picks Hart, but an American who traveled across the border. is there to watch Michaels win. We then go to Kevin Kelly in the AOL room, where Steve Austin is chilling in the background. And Kevin tries to get a word with Stone Cold, who thinks the fans' questions are stupid. Because, of course, he's concerned about his neck. He doesn't need anyone feeling sorry for him.
Sink or swim.
And Austin seems to have enough of Kelly's questions as he returns to staring at the laptop. So Kevin sends it back to the announce table, where JR shows us footage of Flash Funk and the Headbangers as they had dinner with a Milton Bradley representative, where it appears that they give the man's son a noogie. Ross then shows us footage of Steve Blackman's debut, where on this last Monday's Raw, Team Canada was attacking Vader, only for Blackman to jump the rail to help him, so the Mastodon would bail him out of jail, because everyone thought he was just a regular old fan jumping the railing.
They sell it like he was just a fan, but he's a fan that's
very well skilled in martial arts.
Large and handsome and can kick your teeth out.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the back with Michael Cole. He's there with Team USA, where he points out that they have nothing in common. Vader pausing to collect his thoughts before introducing his team. We got Goldust, whose face is painted black with the letters FU in gold. And we're told that means forever unchained.
Yeah.
Marc, Mero, and Steve Blackman. That's Team USA. The Mastodon concurs that they don't have a lot in common, except that they don't like big mouth Canadians telling them what to do.
We did a lot of work here.
Team Canada's tough when it's 4-on-1, but tonight it's 4-on-4. Cole then interviews Blackman, asking if he's nervous, as he just went from being a fan with a ticket to a member of Team USA. With Steve responding, he's not experienced as a wrestler, but he's experienced in all forms of fighting. And so I got a fun fact about Blackman here.
Yeah, I don't know much about Steve Blackman. He's got a presence. It's a face you remember.
He actually has been on the radar of WWF since 1989.
Wow.
But right before he was about to debut or whatever, he went on a tour in Africa. And he contracted a severe case of malaria.
Okay.
Being bedridden for a couple of years.
Did he go to Africa for shits and giggles?
That I don't know. I just saw Tour of Africa. So I don't know if it was
It's probably
a wrestling tour, a martial arts tour,
probably martial arts
vacation. I don't know.
Either way,
literally, he was close to death.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Well, it looks incredible at the moment.
We should also mention what the Golden One has been up to at this point. Marlena was happy to be back with her man after her month away with Pillman. But Goldust told her that he had found someone new while she was away. Someone that lets him be who he wants to be. That he's tired of living in the shadow of her and his father. So we'll see how that storyline plays out here in the future.
Who is this other person? Why are you bringing Dusty into this? It says FU on his face, forever unchained. But on the back of his head, it just says alive again. That's damn. Low blow.
So we get our third match. Team USA of Goldust, Marc Mero, Vader, and Steve Blackman with Sable versus Team Canada of British Bulldog, Jim, the Anvil Neidhart, Doug Furnas, and Phil Lafon.
One of these men is Canadian.
In a Survivor Series elimination match. And I wonder if anyone thought the Patriot was going to come out since they played his music.
Yeah.
He was actually supposed to be on the team until he had his triceps injury.
Yes,
and that's where they had Blackman join instead.
I even rewound the little intro thing with Blackman just to see if I missed them talking about the Patriot not being able to be on the team.
Nope,
because
never talked about him.
Why are you playing his music?
I mean, they're Team USA, so I get it, but
yeah,
I literally would have been like, "Oh, Patriot's coming out," because that's his music, but he doesn't come out. As Team USA enters, we go to the back with Michael Cole, who's now with Team Canada, saying their opponents are in foreign territory, with Bulldog agreeing that Team USA will leave as losers. And Cole turns his attention to Doug Furnas, asking him why he's on Team Canada, with him responding that America glorifies 4 things: drugs, crime, slime, and degenerates.
Fine.
So he's declared his independence from America.
Survivor Series brought to you by Creepy Crawlers.
Oh, and I don't know if you remember the ECW show when Lafon and Furnas showed up,
Mm-hmm.
and I said that they had been in a car accident. Told you it was with Flash Funk was one of the other people. Couldn't remember the 4th person. I remembered. It was Sid. He was the driver.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then he left.
Yeah. So Mero and Davey Boy start us off with Bulldog wiping his ass with Marc's bandana. So Mero attacks, only for Davey Boy to counter with hip tosses and a drop kick to send Marc to the floor. As Mero regroups, he moves Sable to another quarter because he doesn't like the fans chanting her name in the other one.
I do love Bulldog's karate pose to mock Steve Blackman. It's very funny.
Vader tags in to work over Bulldog with stiff shots, short arm clotheslines, and avalanche attacks. But Davey catches the Mastodon coming off the second rope with a power slam and a vertical suplex.
Ooh, it's a nice suplex, and the crowd goes wild.
The Fawn comes in to kick at Vader, only for a reverse whip, allowing the Mastodon to hit a corner splash before bringing Mero back with a knee lift. And the Fawn retaliates with a spinning heel kick, sending Marc to his corner to be pinballed around, followed by a clothesline for a 2 count. And Mero floats over on a suplex attempt, knocking Phil down with a right hand to the head before tagging in Blackman, coming in with kicks, right hands, and dropping the throat of Lafon onto the ropes.
I mean, yeah, great sell by Lafon with those kicks. Or maybe Steve Blackman is stiff.
Steve continues with an elbow drop, but a reversed whip causes Blackman to be taken down with a knee to the gut and a DDT for a near fall, followed by a crucifix pin attempt for a 2 count. And Steve with kicks to all of Team Canada before backdropping Lafon out to the floor, with him following out, only for Furnas and Neidhart to attacking, causing Blackman to be counted out and eliminated.
We've been getting these Sable chants. Not a good sign.
Back in the ring, Mero and Anvil match up, only for Marc to telegraph a back body drop, allowing Neidhart to hammer away, sending Mero to a corner where he charges in, but Marc avoids, rolling up the Anvil for a near fall. Neidhart with a clothesline and comes off the second rope with a splash, only for Mero to avoid again and tagging in Vader, who misses a clothesline, allowing the Anvil to hit one of his own, followed by a leaping forearm for a 2 count. The Mastodon then bounces out of a corner to lay out Neidhart with an avalanche attack, an elbow drop to the sickle, and a splash for the pin to eliminate Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Thanks for coming.
Yep.
The Fawn jumps in to chop, thrust kick, and spinning heel kick Vader out to the floor, before throwing him into the ring steps, where Furnas gets involved as well. Back in the ring, the Mastodon reverses a whip and hits another avalanche attack, a belly-belly suplex, and a second rope splash for the pin to eliminate Phil Lafon. And Doug looks to avenge his partner with a drop kick, hammering away on the back of Vader, but he misses a second drop kick attempt, allowing Vader to tag out to Mero, who goes to work with his educated fists, followed by going to the top for a double jump moonsault for a near fall. Marc looks for a pile driver, but Furnas slams Mero down and makes his way to the corner to tag in Bulldog, who delivers turnbuckle smashes, only to then telegraph a back body drop, with Marc going for a sunset flip. But Davey Boy stays up and choke lifts into a running power slam attempt. But Mero wiggles out the back, shoving Bulldog into a corner and nailing more strikes, which sends Davey Boy to tag out. Now Furnas and Marc trade jabs, when Marc would reverse a whip and charge in, only for Mero to roll up Furnas for a 2 count, with Furnas immediately countering into a pin with a handful of tights for the pin to eliminate Marc Mero.
No Goldust yet.
Vader returns to work over Doug with stiff shots, but he misses a clothesline, allowing Furnas to nail a leaping clothesline, followed by Bulldog coming in to hammer away with forearms and goes for a suplex, only for the Mastodon to reverse. and Vader heads to his corner to tag out. But Goldust just doesn't want to come in.
He's just chewing gum in the corner.
Allowing Canada to keep up the attack, only for the Mastodon to break free once more with a back suplex. The Golden One just walks away this time, while Furnas goes low, bringing in Davey Boy to whip Vader to a corner, but charges into a boot, followed by the Mastodon charging out with a clothesline. Goldust this time drops to the floor to avoid a tag, with Doug coming back to hit chops and a belly-to-belly suplex on the Mastodon for a near fall.
And Goldust does have a cast on his arm.
He does.
It says freedom on it.
Followed by a Hurricanrana for a 2 count. Vader rallies with a roundhouse right and looks to tag again, but the Golden One just turns his back. So the Mastodon slaps him and throws him into the ring, with the ref saying, "Yep, sure. That's a tag." Goldust just stares down Vader before rolling out of the ring and walking to the back to be counted out and eliminated.
Easiest paycheck he ever got.
Yep.
So the Mastodon's all alone, hitting a corner splash on Furnas before nailing Bulldog with an avalanche attack as he runs in. Vader slams Doug down, followed by delivering a Vader bomb for the pin to eliminate Doug Furnas. Davey Boy has grabbed the ring bell, and he clocks the Mastodon with it while the ref is removing Doug from the ring, allowing him to make the cover for the pin to eliminate Vader. So your survivor is British Bulldog.
Of Team Canada.
Nice.
I know, or Canadian.
No Canadians survived.
Yeah, so Lafon couldn't have swapped with Doug Furnas. What did you guys think of Blackman? I thought he looked...
I mean, what I saw, I thought he looked fine.
Yeah, he looked great. In, maybe the best physical condition of a guy on the roster. His kicks looked awesome. His punches was the real issue, as he probably is not very comfortable. But you could fit a Jackyl between his punches and his opponents.
I want to say, I'm trying to remember, I think at some point him and Shane McMahon have a program, and it's like bad punches against bad punches. Because, you got Shane with his little popcorn.
Little rabbit punches, yeah. That sounds pretty fun.
We see the Karate Fighters blimp, with Lawler joking that Max Mini is the captain of it.
I mean, pretty good joke.
Before JR talks about the Survivor Series Super Supper Sweepstakes.
Can you say it 5 times fast?
I mean, I just said it once fast.
No, you don't. I'm kidding.
Do I need to say it 5 times
fast?
fast?
That's the thing they did.
Yes.
They have the winner, Jacqueline Cook from Columbia, South Carolina, on the phone. And luckily, she is watching the pay-per-view.
Their audience is learning.
She picks Stone Cold Steve Austin as the superstar she wants to have dinner with. But the king can't believe his ears, saying he has good table manners, even proving it by tucking his notes into his collar like a bib. Ross then sends us to a video package about Kane, where we see Paul Bearer letting Undertaker know that he's alive before debuting at Bad Blood. And Taker says he will never fight his own flesh and blood, before Bearer promises that they will destroy every superstar until they get the dead man, as we see highlights of Kane attacking various wrestlers.
They're doing their own Goldust Goldberg had dust on the brain with Kane. It's like, okay, well, for him to get to, but it's more compelling because it's the Undertaker who said, it's like, I won't fight my brother. So let him smash everybody he can on his way up there.
Brett said that same thing. Remember?
Yes, he did. But hey, they're all good now.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to, smack your brother around to get on the same page.
Yeah.
Dude Love tried to retaliate with the chair, but it had no effect, so he would be chokeslammed, leading to the return of Mankind, who says the big red machine ruined an innocent kid, leaving me to pick up the pieces. So he will face Kane anytime and anywhere, followed by putting the mandible claw on Paul at one point. And we go live to the back with Foley, who says he doesn't want people to remember this as a wrestling match. It's Mankind versus a brick wall. Common sense says to walk around or climb over it, but he plans to launch himself into the wall until it falls. He could die trying, or he may not. And if the wall goes down, that leaves Bearer. Mankind continues. He gave a year of his life to Paul, only to be called a pebble. So Foley promises to sink his 2 fingers into the flabby jowls of Bearer, followed by asking him if he still looks like a pebble.
Do I look like a pebble now? Do I? Of course he ends with "Have a nice day," but Mick Foley, just put a camera in front of him. It's not. He'll do the work.
So we go to our 4th match. Mankind versus Kane with Paul Bearer. And we haven't seen the Big Red Machine wrestle since Royal Rumble 97, episode 236, as Fake Diesel.
Is Fake Diesel better than Isaac Yankem? Or is it just a wash? I think it's a wash.
It's a little bit of a wash.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was researching, I was like, oh, last match he was in, Royal Rumble 97. I was like, okay, let me go back to Royal Rumble. Where's his name at? I totally forgot that he was Diesel in that match. I was still thinking it was Isaac Yankem.
The Diesel thing was a short stint.
So Kane enters under a red hue, and it stays this way for the entire match, while Foley meets the Big Red Machine in the aisle to ram him into the guardrail. But Kane answers with a choke toss into the steps. They make their way into the ring, where the Big Red Machine sets off his pyro and starts hammering away on Mankind, only for Foley to retaliate with a cactus clothesline that sees Kane land on his feet.
Wonder where you learned that. Maybe it's just in the blood.
Big Red Machine with a clothesline picks up the ring steps and throws them at Mankind, before returning to the ring, where Kane continues with a clothesline, right hands, big boot, turnbuckle smashes, chokes, and a side slam.
Oh no, it's the Interrogator. I do love that he throws the steps at Mankind, enters the ring, and then he just looks down at him like Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw.
No, he kind of tilts his head.
Yeah.
Like, you're still coming?
Like a dog, yeah. Or
Jason.
Leatherface, or...
Jason.
No, Michael Myers.
Well, Jason did it too.
Did he?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're doing... He's different enough from The Undertaker in that he's even more stoic and less human.
You remember, your silent mass killers. That's what they do.
Yeah. They're all typically the idea is that they're, half-wit murderers.
Foley's kicked out to the floor, where the Big Red Machine whips Mankind into the steel steps before charging in, only to be hotshot onto the steps. And Foley fires up with the right hands, and he grabs a chair, blasting Kane in the face, followed by the fight heading back into the ring, where Mankind delivers a pulling piledriver. And Foley calls for the claw, but he then heads to the ropes, where he applies it to Paul Bearer, yelling at him, "Do I look like a pebble now?"
Yeah, it's pretty great. He's like, you know what? This guy, what are the chances I'm going to get through this guy? But at least I might be able to get a little bit of Paul Bearer before he puts me down.
But this allows the Big Red Machine to attack from behind, shoving Mankind off the apron and through the Spanish announce table.
Háblame, Jesus.
Tito.
Kane whacks Foley with parts of the table as he tries to escape, before grabbing him for a chokeslam in the entryway, only for Mankind to kick low and nail a DDT on the concrete, followed by a cactus elbow from the apron. Foley then climbs to the top rope for another one, but the Big Red Machine is up, meeting him there to press slam Mankind down to the floor. And Foley slowly crawls his way back into the ring, with Kane still not believing that Mankind's still moving. So he pulls Foley into a tombstone for the pin and the win.
Pretty wild that, we got some ECW chants for the Mick Foley bumps. No matter where you go, they seem to be ready to chant ECW, and I just never quite realized that it was across the whole country.
This is in another country even. This is Canada, man.
Mm-hmm. And say what you will about sports entertainment, but this is how you make something silly work.
Yep.
The lights being down.
I didn't love the lights.
I didn't love the lights being down either, but Mick Foley pulled it all together, so it's okay. Then as long as they don't do it for the next year of Kane, it's okay.
I don't think they did.
I don't remember.
Do it for a little bit, but I don't know how long.
It fades out quickly and then doesn't return until Fiend.
Yeah, I didn't like it with the Fiend either, but I don't think anybody did.
No.
JR then tells everyone how to get some free dog tags. Send in that cable bill.
Yeah.
Show that you ordered the pay-per-view.
We want your address so we can send you catalogs.
And he stumbled over his words just like I did. Mm-hmm. And Lawler was there to finish it for him, before sending it to Michael Cole in the back with Sergeant Slaughter and Vince McMahon. Cole says tensions are high in the locker room, with Sarge assuring everyone that there is extra security, followed by Vince saying it's important the fans get to see Bret versus Shawn. It was supposed to happen on a number of occasions, but various reasons prevented it. A.K.A. Shawn
Michaels. Yeah, and Vince looks pretty serious. Like he's standing on the tips of his toes.
Michael then asks McMahon who will win tonight, with him responding, I just don't know.
Oh no. He smiles first. And he says, I don't know.
Because you do know.
So, bitch.
But we go to our fifth match. The Nation of Domination of Faarooq, Rocky Maivia, D'Lo Brown, and Kama Mustafa versus Ken Shamrock, Ahmed Johnson, and the Legion of Doom of Road Warrior Hawk and Road Warrior Animal in a Survivor Series elimination match.
I do love the little Shamrock pop. Didn't expect it.
And as the Nation enters, we're sent backstage to Doc Hendricks, who's with Ken Shamrock's team, calling it a dangerous situation, which is right up Ken's alley. Shamrock says that they are there to take care of business. They're going to knuckle up and take care of the criminal element in the WWF before stealing Animal's line, "Tell 'em, Hawk." Where the Road Warrior proceeds to say, "It seems to me that it seems to be. The Nation is the criminal element. We are the sergeant at arms. When we're done with them, they'll be face down in a pool of their own blood. The Nation will wish for a friend to turn them over so they don't drown in their own blood." Oh, what a rush!
Yeah. And I said, it seems to me, and I was like, do we live our life like a candle in the wind? That's what I was ready for.
So I say I gotta be me, so I say I gotta be free.
So the match gets going with Brown hitting several shoulder blocks and a pile driver to Hawk to begin with, only for him to no-sell all of it and nailing D'Lo with a neck breaker.
Knuckle up.
The Road Warrior continues with chop and right hands to Rocky until he goes to run the ropes, where Mustafa kicks him from the apron, knocking him right into a Uranagi for the pin to eliminate Road Warrior Hawk.
Oh my god.
Always the first to go.
But I thought Rocky sucked.
Apparently hockey sucks even more in Canada.
Ahmed comes in to punch away, but Maivia escapes to bring in Kama, who returns the favor, followed by a clothesline before bringing Faarooq in for a backbreaker and tossing Johnson into the Nation's corner, where he's whipped with a belt by Brown. The militant lifts Ahmed up for a Dominator, only for Johnson to slip out and deliver a Pearl River plunge for the pin to eliminate Faarooq.
That's where he's getting his win back?
D'Lo jumps back in to stay on Ahmed with kicks, a spinning heel kick, and headed to the top for a frog splash. But Johnson rallies with right hands, a boot to the gut, and a vertical front suplex that sends Brown to tag out. And then Rocky immediately runs in to be taken down with a spine buster, followed by Ahmed going to run the ropes, only for Faarooq to trip him up from the floor and holding his legs, while Maivia makes the cover for the pin to eliminate Ahmed Johnson. Even as the outside ref was clearly seeing all of this happen.
Yeah. It's like, you gotta at least give him an out.
It was actually kind of, well, like, literally the ref kind of was like, he turns and sees it, and then he goes, "No, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing anything."
What is on my shoe?
Yeah.
Ahmed
He just, like, turned and acted like a fan was, like, yelling or being belligerent or something.
Trip and fall down.
Ahmed out of the camera.
Ahmed rolls out to brawl with the militant all the way to the back, while Animal hits a corner clothesline on Rocky, before Shamrock does the same, followed by a dropkick. And after an irate, Kama and Ken trade strikes and chokes, until Shamrock avoids a corner charge, and tags out to Animal, who throws Mustafa, followed by both men hitting a clothesline at the same time for a double KO. Now back to their feet, the Road Warrior ducks a roundhouse right to nail a back suplex, only to charge into a knee in a corner, allowing Kama to thrust kick low and hit several headbutts. Animal fires back with a leaping shoulder tackle and a body slam for a 2 count, as D'Lo breaks it up, while there is some weird audio feedback in the arena that the King blames on Kevin Dunn.
He actually said the name.
The Road Warrior knocks Brown out of the ring, but the distraction allows Mustafa to hook kick Animal, only for the Road Warrior to retaliate with a dropkick that sends Kama into Rocky, followed by rolling him up for the pin to eliminate Mustafa. Now D'Lo jumps in, but he's clotheslined down by Animal before Shamrock enters to nail a dropkick, stiff shots, and a clothesline of his own. Brown rakes the eyes of Ken and elbows the Road Warrior to create a distraction, followed by body slamming Shamrock, with Rocky joining in for a right hand to the balls that gets a near fall.
Rocky sucks.
D'Lo with a snapmare, leg drop, and a rear chin lock to wear down Ken, which he escapes momentarily, only to run into a knee to the gut. And Brown keeps up the attack with chokes and a backbreaker before going up top, but he misses a springboard moonsault, allowing Shamrock to make the crawl for the hot tag. Animal cleans house with drop kicks and power slams when Billy Gunn and Road Dogg would arrive wearing the Legion of Doom's shoulder pads, allowing Rocky to clothesline the Road Warrior out of the ring, where Jesse James throws powder into his eyes, leaving the blinded Animal to be counted out and eliminated.
Leave it to Road Dogg Jesse James to pull out the Southern wrestling gimmick.
D'Lo then takes Ken down with strikes and clotheslines before the Nation goes for a double clothesline. But Shamrock ducks and nails one of his own, followed by a clothesline to knock Maivia out of the ring. Ken then applies the ankle lock to Brown for the submission and elimination, while Rocky has grabbed a chair, smashing it over the back of Shamrock, while the ref is escorting D'Lo out of the ring.
How convenient.
Maivia makes the cover for the pin, and no, Ken kicks out.
Hell yeah.
So Rocky stomps away, followed by a float over DDT and a not so electrifying people's elbow for a near fall.
He didn't do that hands? No big hands?
Yeah, he didn't cross the arms.
Yeah. I mean, though, that always bothered me anyway.
Shamrock rallies for stiff shots when Maivia tries to float over again, but Ken counters it into a Northern Lights suplex.
Love to see it.
Before nailing a Hurricanrana and applying the ankle lock again for the submission and elimination of Rocky Maivia. So your survivor of the match is Ken Shamrock.
Who'd have thunk it?
I mean, Ken's been very fun. Yeah. Rocky's coming into his own. Mm-hmm. He's getting more and more comfortable. They gave him a lot more here than they had in a while. They gave him too much. Now they're making him earn it a little bit, hiding him with some folks.
Yep.
Letting him get comfortable.
JR says the WWF has set the attendance record for the Molson Center. Before we go to a commercial for our next pay-per-view, Degeneration X in your house.
Are you ready?
Spelled with the E.
Yeah. It was the first time that we've seen any of this.
Yeah, it's basically the debut of what becomes their Titantron video. Yeah. As we get the music.
Yeah,
the frantic shots of strippers, crotch chops, and DX beating up people. Because literally, so we watched the Raw
Mm-hmm.
a few weeks ago. The next week they come out, and that's when they actually call themselves Generation X.
And is Billy and Road Dogg a part of this yet?
No.
I didn't think so.
It's just Shawn, Triple H, Chyna, and Rick Rude.
Yeah. At one point, they contemplated merging them in with them, but they were, I guess, wanting to let them just kind of do their own thing.
Did they join when Shawn leaves?
Yeah.
That's what I figured. It's like, we need two people that together still don't make a Shawn Michaels.
Maybe three people.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't sure when he came through.
He'd be like the sixth member of the group.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Spelled funny.
Ross and the King then discuss our Intercontinental title match, which leads to a video package where Austin has always fought through the pain. It's not how many times you go down, but how many times you get up, as we see footage of his injuries at King of the Ring 96 and SummerSlam 97.
The stitches in the tongue from the Jake match.
Stone Cold then uses a picture of Owen as target practice at his ranch, saying it was scary when he dumped me on my head, so Hart has hell to pay because he's pissed off.
And it's with a bow and arrow because we've already had enough trouble with guns on this show.
Owen promises that the belt will stay where it belongs, while Austin responds that this isn't a wrestling match. It's payback time. It's like, that's a different pay-per-view, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to our sixth match. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Owen Hart with Team Canada for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. And only half of the glass partition breaks as Austin goes to walk out. So he has to break the rest of it with his elbow.
Yeah, and then still not all of it goes. So you can see the crew in the back just like push it down behind him and then start cleaning up because you just can't have glass everywhere.
And once Owen's out there, he hesitates to get in the ring until Neidhart would jump in, only to be dropped with a stunner, allowing Hart to attack from behind.
So smart. Give him a stunner quick.
The two men brawl until Stone Cold reverses a piledriver attempt with a back body drop that sends Hart bailing out to the floor, only to trip up and drag Austin to wrap his knee around the ring post.
Love it.
Owen tries to do it again, but Stone Cold pulls Hart into the post to counter, followed by Owen realizing the ref has ejected Team Canada from ringside, so he tries to leave as well.
You're all alone, Owen.
Austin catches up with him to brawl in the aisle before tossing Hart into the ring, where he just ends up rolling right back out on the other side. Stone Cold continues to stalk after his opponent when Owen would mule kick down low, smashing Austin's face into the already broken Spanish announce table, choking with a television cable as Hart yells at the ref to disqualify him, going as far as to ring the bell for the ref.
Yeah, it's pretty funny where the ref's like, get back in the ring, and he's like, fucking disqualify me then. And then he just, Owen, so good at being a little shithead.
But Mike Chioda is not having it.
No.
As they head back to the ring, where Owen continues to choke and rake the eyes, until Stone Cold counters to stop a mud hole. And Austin goes for a tombstone, but he loses grip, so Stone Cold recovers to deliver a stunner for the pin and the win. And new! Post-match, Lafon and Furnas run back down to the ring to eat stunners as well before Austin poses with the belt.
You gotta hit those corners. It's like, alright, well, we need like 4 stunners in this match. And it's like, I would have liked to see a more competitive match, but I understand what they're doing.
Well, Austin's also not completely back, so they're keeping the match short to limit that as well.
That's true, but I guess this is a conversation we can have later, or it can evolve through time, but does he ever come back completely, or is it personality, mud holes, and stunners? He's never the Steve Austin that we saw.
I mean, he's never going to be that Steve Austin again, but like,
I mean, he makes up for it in other ways.
Yeah, he comes back and has longer matches and all that.
Yeah, but they're different.
Yeah, he kind of like with Bryan Danielson, when he came back from all of his neck injuries and whatnot, he had to kind of adapt to a different style. Granted, Austin just goes for more of a brawling style as opposed to
he's
Daniel
also
Bryan
a lot
with
bigger than
his
Bryan Daniels.
flying around and jumping and flipping and kicking and all that shit that Daniel Bryan does.
Yeah. Also, but there was that match where Brock just dumped Danielson on his neck for 10 minutes. So.
Yep.
We then go to a commercial with superstars in a building, each giving narration, where they list their athletic accomplishments and injuries. Some are former football players. Others have concussions, stitches, and broken bones. Stone Cold, Undertaker, Faarooq, Ahmed Johnson, Shawn Michaels, and Bret Hart all dare the detractors to say something. You don't think this is real? Try lacing up my boots. Followed by a new WWF logo with attitude written underneath it.
Scratchy logo. Hell yeah.
There it is.
JR and the King talk about our main event, bringing up that the Heartbreak Kid doesn't lay down for anyone, while the Hitman calls himself the best. They then show the opening video package again, before seeing Shawn and DX walking backstage and through the curtain. But Triple H, Chyna, and Rick Rude don't follow out, leaving Michaels to snatch a Canadian flag from a fan to wipe himself with it.
That fan launches that beer in his face, and it doesn't faze Shawn. I wonder why.
Chewing my gum, man.
Yep.
Ain't nothing stopping me.
Bret is then shown walking backstage as well, with his son Blade carrying a flag, only to arrive alone as well, since the two competitors had agreed to not have their stables at ringside for the match.
I mean, both of them walking through the arena is great. It's such a big fight feel, guys.
So we got our 7th match, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, versus Bret Hitman Hart for the WWF Championship. And Michaels attacks before the bell rings, leading to the two trading strikes until a clothesline sends them out to the floor, where they continue to brawl. Shawn's thrown into the crowd, with Bret following to keep up the attack, slamming the Heartbreak Kid's head into a guardrail before making their way back to ringside. Now officials, Slaughter, and Vince all arrive to try and restore order, but our competitors continue fighting,
Looking nervous.
with the Hitman having his head slammed into the ring steps, choked with an American flag, and then tossed to the crowd, with HBK hammering away.
And JR tells us that there's been speculation that if Bret loses tonight, he'll be leaving the WWF. And I'm like, well, mind explodes.
HBK then attempts a piledriver, only to be body dropped back to ringside. And Hart kicks low and takes the fight down the entryway, where they do a piledriver back body drop spot again on the concrete, followed by a snap suplex on the floor as well. More brawling when Michael sends Bret into one of the officials, but the Hitman retaliates by slamming his head into the railing and then tosses him towards the tunnel area, where Hart picks up his fire extinguisher to whack Shawn over the back.
After that suplex spot, you can see Shawn Michaels whisper to Bret. Like they're probably just talking the next spot. But man, would I love to know what he said.
Fuck you, man.
Vince,
It could be anything.
Yeah.
Vince is pleading with Bret to take the match to the ring, so he drags the Heartbreak Kid back towards ringside, grabbing a Quebec flag to choke Michaels inside the ring as the bell finally rings.
And we're off, ladies and gentlemen.
The Hitman with leg drops and an inverted atomic drop, but after a missed clothesline, Shawn nails a jumping forearm, stomps, chokes with a flag, and a fist drop, all while taunting the Canadian crowd. And HBK with a turnbuckle smash before tossing Hart out to the floor, where he drops him with a front suplex onto the ring steps. Michaels then breaks Bret's Canadian flagpole. It's not a euphemism. He actually has a flag.
Yeah.
In half to jab him with it, followed by rolling the Hitman in and going to the top for a double axe handle. And Shawn's wearing down Hart with a front face lock, but Bret rallies by throwing the Heartbreak Kid off and going to work on the legs, only for a rake of the eyes to slow the momentum. The two trade strikes until Michaels delivers a body slam and a top rope crossbody, only for the Hitman to roll through to land on top for a 2 count. And Hart trips up Shawn, dragging him to the corner for a ring post aided figure 4, which the ref forces him to break. So Bret returns to the ring to lock in a normal figure 4 to continue the punishment, when the Heartbreak Kid reverses, forcing the Hitman to make the ropes. And Hart continues with right hands, sending Michaels to the corner for a flare flip, but he lands back in the ring with Bret nailing a Russian leg sweep for a near fall. And the Hitman keeps up the attack with a headbutt to the gut and a snap suplex for a 2 count, before hitting a backbreaker and heads to the second rope for an elbow drop, only for Shawn to pull Hebner into the line of fire.
Ref bump.
HBK then rakes the eyes and applies the sharpshooter, with the ref calling for the bell right as Hart was going to reverse. And new!
And Hebner's out. You can watch him leap out of the ring.
He sprints out of the ring. Everyone's looking confused. Even Ross is asking what happened. And Bret looks right at Vince and spits in his face as Michaels collects the belt and storms away,
As trash is thrown.
posing with the title at the entrance. JR says, "You want to talk about controversy?" before saying his goodbyes. And we fade to black.
And as much as this has been talked to death, this show ends so fast.
Well, they cut a whole lot off of it, because in the initial one,
Like when it happened
back
live.
in the day, when it happened live, and then like the rebroadcasts and all of that stuff, there's a whole other like 10-minute segment in the ring with Bret flipping off McMahon.
He does
WCW,
the WCW.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Confessions of a Hitman probably 3 or 4 times in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wasn't sure how edited down this was.
No, all of that stuff.
Yeah, I know it happened, but
We
I
saw
thought
it at home.
But I thought maybe they could have said, goodbye, and then like that happened after the fact. But yeah, all right, well.
So let's have some fun stuff to talk about. But
Of course we do.
Do we want to do a round robin about our feelings about
I mean,
the screw job?
it's been talked to death. I'm mostly Team Bret, but as for whose idea it was and all that stuff, there's enough. There's 30 hours of YouTube for you to dive into a hole about, right? What are we going to say that the people that were there or know more about wrestling or have worked in wrestling companies,
How did it make you feel?
I mean, it stinks because this is essentially the end of one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And Shawn Michaels is great, but he's not. He's a different kind of great than Bret Hart. They just are two completely different people when it comes down to like what this is to them and the way that they view it. So you can have a favorite, but if you want to go from the heart, no pun intended, I'm Team Bret.
I mean, there's 4 people in the wrong on this thing.
Yeah.
There's Bret.
Yeah.
Bret's in the wrong a little bit
A little bit.
by not being willing to drop the belt.
He would have dropped it on Raw the next day.
That's what he says.
So he says.
But here's the thing. What if Eric Bischoff goes to him and goes, "I'll give you $5 million more if you'll bring the belt with you"? Okay, he's loyal to WWF, or he's loyal to Vince, and he's a trustworthy person.
He's loyal to wrestling.
And he's willing to not take the money to do that. And he does. When he gets to WCW, why is Bischoff's going to be like, "Oh, you're not a company guy. You didn't do business for this company."
Ask you to do one thing.
So
that one thing is a pretty big ass.
But it is.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah. No, I see where you're coming from.
Vince is in the wrong because he should have taken the belt off of Bret before this even became an issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's on Vince.
Yeah.
Like I don't care if Bret, because obviously Bret's not your moneymaker. That's why you're letting him go.
Mm-hmm.
You should have taken the belt off of him. Third person, Shawn being Shawn.
Yep.
The fourth person, though...
Shawn didn't really draw either.
I mean, he drew more than Brett did. Fourth person's Triple H. Because Triple H is the one that convinced Shawn to go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Really? He literally said, it's a quote, basically, if Brett won't do business, we'll do business for him. And that's what convinced Shawn to go along with the plan.
Okay.
So, I mean, as much as I like Triple H...
Oh, yeah.
But
they all had a hand.
He had a hand in it as well.
Yeah. I mean, they're wrestlers. They're not my friends.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody can talk forever about the what could have been and all of that, but...
It is what it is.
That's the sucky part of it, of life, is sometimes it just is what it is.
Mm-hmm. So Vince would lock himself in his office, but The Undertaker would force McMahon to talk to the Hitman, which resulted in him being punched in the face.
Yep, Taker didn't know about this and was pissed about it.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Shawn claimed to not have known for years, but he finally did admit that he knew about it from the beginning.
Of course he did.
We had a few wrestlers that would sit out and protest. Foley being one. He would sit out for a couple weeks in protest.
He's Mick Foley. He's the nicest guy in wrestling.
But we did have 4 people that would just leave the WWF over the course of the next basically the next month or so. In Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Yep.
Rick Rude.
Mm-hmm.
British Bulldog. And Crush.
Old school guys.
Yep.
And Crush.
Crush has been around for a long time. Whether they like him or not,
But we will see all of them again.
Yeah.
Down south. So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Survivor Series 1997?
It's a 3-match show.
It's a what?
3-match show.
Oh, 3-match show. Gotcha.
As far as the other matches, your Survivor Series style matches, it's nice to see badass Billy Gunn start to show the character that will make him the guy that everybody knows.
The ass daddy of today.
Exactly. And it's nice to see Rocky come out of his shell a little bit more. Blackman was pretty fun, and Shamrock is a ball of energy. But for my taste, it's like, well, you can watch Kane Mankind through the end of the show and save yourself some time and watch some 3 things that, matter, that are important, even if they're not the greatest matches that ever happened. They are, historically important, each in their own different way.
It's a classic show. It's a lot more happened on this show than is given credit to it, because they plant just lots of stuff for the future. Everybody's stuck on the main event, how it ended, but there was a lot of stuff where they were building, planting seeds, and you had everything that happened at the end, but I mean, you've got your what's going on with Goldust, what's going on with Steve Blackman, who is this new guy? You've got your, granted, a handful of those guys end up leaving, with your Bulldog and your
Neidhart.
Yeah, I'm like, who am I forgetting? Neidhart.
Yeah, I mean, Neidhart's pretty much an afterthought in general at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good on this show, and then it just kind of gets lost in the cluster of everything happening at the end, because everybody, at least back then and for a few years after, just got so wrapped up in their feeling and their emotion and all of that with what happened at the very end, and they kind of forgot. There's some good shit that happens in this show.
I mean, yeah. Mankind and Kane is the anointment of Kane. It's like, okay, well, we've seen him chokeslam guys or whatever, but now you get to see him with, the guy who will throw his body into a brick wall. Mm-hmm. The guy that's not just a pebble.
So, I mean, I texted you guys this as I was, literally about to watch the main event.
Yeah.
And, I had never watched the full match before. And, literally, I was sitting there, and I'm it's 27 years later, and I'm, tense as fuck, watching this, getting ready for this. Because I'm even though I know what happens,
You've seen the finish a million
I've
times.
I've seen the ding, 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 like everybody run off.
Hebner
like,
bounced.
like I've seen all that, never seen the match, and so I was just like super tense, like going into it, like not knowing. But since I was ready for the finish, the ending doesn't impact my feelings for this show.
No.
So, knowing that, I think these Survivor style matches are some of my favorites that we've ever watched, as every single one had a purpose.
They did?
And it built someone. Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. They're a new tag team. That match was made for them to look good.
Yeah.
The second match was
for
the Interrogator and the Truth. I mean, we've never seen the Truth Commission.
Yeah.
They need to build those guys. It was built to make the Interrogator look good.
Who's the one guy that people remember? I mean, they don't remember the Interrogator. They remember Kurgan.
Yeah.
You know, he's your sole survivor.
Yeah, but this is your first shot.
My least favorite match was Team USA versus Team Canada, but it makes Vader look good again.
Yeah.
It builds a Vader Goldust feud because now they're upset with each other. Steve Blackman debuts. He looked good in the little bit, but they're going to limit him in the match to not overexpose him.
Yeah.
You get more samples of jealous Marc Mero, pulling Sable from one side of the ring to the other because the crowd was being too vocal for her. Don't talk to my wife.
Yeah, exactly. So there's these little things that are sprinkled through those survivors. Yes, Mankind, Kane, great.
Yeah.
Because you have to start feeding. Like, Kane can beat up all the lower tier guys, but you have to feed him some guys with names at some point.
Somebody that means somebody that people care about.
Yeah, exactly.
And who do they care most about right now? Mick.
Yeah. It's like it could have been Goldust, but Mick means more than Goldust.
Mm-hmm.
And Nation versus Shamrock, like, we see the changing of the guard almost immediately in the Nation of Domination.
Yeah.
Faarooq's the first guy eliminated from that team.
Yeah, crazy.
Rocky goes to the end. He looks good. He looks so much better than what we saw him 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's like we've seen the flashes of like, oh, this is the guy we know or whatever, but this is the closest to the full package.
And we also see Ken Shamrock upping his game because like he looks so much better than the last time we saw him.
Yeah,
he just looks impressive. And I mean, he's going to carry the momentum from this forward.
Yeah,
and then. Obviously, the last two matches, we talked about Austin, Owen. It was short for a reason.
Yeah. It was one of those things where I had high expectations, but knowing that, Austin almost lost his career, it totally makes sense. So,
Given what happened during their SummerSlam match, I don't think they wanted to take that match any longer than needed because of the what-if factor.
And then, in my opinion, the main event is a shortlist match. Mm-hmm. If it has a natural conclusion.
Oh yeah,
that's the only thing that the screw job takes away from it.
Because it is an incredible,
it's an incredible match.
I mean, it's full of the energy is palpable.
This is the fight that you wanted to see these two guys have for a couple years now.
Yeah.
It is a true grudge match.
And whereas last week on the episode of Nitro, they were talking about how this contract signing is going to be thing that changes the landscape of the professional wrestling world. Nope. This is what changed the landscape of
We'll talk about Hogan's thing one day pretty soon, and
So it makes me wonder if Vince heard them talking about this and was like, you know what, fuck you guys, let me show you how to really...
I don't think he was listening. But...
Never know.
Yeah.
If he wasn't, one of his people might have been.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
I mean, Mick Foley's promo and then the match is like, he said, I'm going to throw myself into the wall. And then he just threw himself into the wall until he couldn't anymore. When he finally lands a big move to Kane, he doesn't go to Kane. He immediately goes for revenge to Paul Bear. he has a bigger grievance with, and it screws him because he knows, and he did it because he's like, well, this is my chance. I know I'm screwed anyway.
Road Dogg and Billy Gunn.
Yep.
To this point, like anytime they came on the screen, I was just kind of like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And these guys have done a full glow up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
literally
walking down.
Because literally watching this match, I was like, okay, there's the guys that I remember watching.
As soon as Road Dogg walked out with the microphone in his hand, and you could just see the completely different
attitude.
Person of Billy Gunn is a completely different guy. Like standing behind him, not even saying a word. You're like, okay, I know where we're going. But yeah, the seeds are big. It's like, okay, well, I guess Ahmed and Faarooq pushed down the card a little bit further after this. Rocky's moved up.
I mean, we definitely
Vader's
talked
not a
about
schlub.
Foley's interview, which was good.
Yeah. I already mentioned just a little Marc Mero moving Sable across. That just stood out as fantastic for me, just because bringing him closer to that shit heel character.
My Chioda not just being like, no, dude, I'm not going to disqualify you. I was like literally, if I would have been like, if I was Owen at that point, I'd just be like, well, then I'm just going to cheat at everything that I do until you will disqualify me. If wrestling was not predetermined, that kind of thing.
For sure.
A pebble now.
Yes, asking Paul about the pebble during the middle of the match was great.
Yes, he has the call.
WWF attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, the degeneration thing. It's like,
those are two big things.
It's kind of crazy that like the Attitude Era truly does start here, like, which is insane. It's like, okay,
it's crazy because Bret Hart's in the original promo, but they have to re-edit it to cut him out, which is kind of funny.
Let's go back and just edit it all back in now that everybody's okay.
I know. Actually, I saw the Attitude logo, and I went, "How long have we had our current logo? Is it time to?"
It is time. We've had it for a couple years now.
Although, how do we do it? Our logo's so good.
It is good.
It's like, well, when you do it with the scratchy, it's like it probably isn't going to look as good.
Yeah,
because it's like it does. The reason the scratchy one works is because it fits together like the other WWF logo, the previous blocky one, which is a better logo, but it's not Attitude.
I've said it before on a different one or a different episode, but when Bret Hart spits, I don't know if they just
he gets a loogie.
Train people in Canada to spit on camera, but he hawks up just like this and like full face size.
He's
been breathing deep for like 15 minutes.
See the original Hawk Tui?
Exactly. I was hoping we were going to make it through one of these without mentioning that. I almost said it earlier with the whole Hawk thing, but yeah, Hawk Tui, spit on that thing. Damn it. Walked right into it.
Call him, Vince McMahon, a thing. It's like, you can call him whatever you want at this point. No one's going to get mad.
How about most disappointing? I know you don't love the Survivor Series style matches.
I know.
Which I get it.
All your points were extremely valid, and I agree with them. They just...
The first two, they were quick matches for Survivor Series matches.
I appreciated that. It's just one of those things where it's like, after I get two of them, it's like, I can't.
I mean, believe me, the Team USA, Team Canada one started dragging at one point because it was just like...
By the time that one was over, like, I
could not do it.
Because
the storyline in that one doesn't really take place until the very end of the match.
Yeah, it's like the rest of it isn't interesting. And then, like,
exactly.
And then they're not really paying a whole lot of attention to Goldust until the last couple minutes.
Yeah.
It's not peppered through.
We can say the screw job.
Yeah, but...
Because we can still be disappointed in it because it did take away from a match that we all agree was a very good match. I don't know if it's match of the year.
but it had potential to be.
It had potential. If we don't have that ending, it has potential, and it's definitely probably on our short list if it comes to a natural conclusion. So we were robbed of that.
Absolutely.
I feel like there's something that was on my brain before, but it's just not.
I mean, great crowd.
It's just not.
obviously.
Except for when they're yelling at Billy Gunn.
Well, yeah, that's not cool. They're involved.
But you know what? Billy Gunn got them to yell at him, so...
It's true, he got a reaction.
He did, yeah. Which is like the reaction, you didn't get much of a reaction from Billy Gunn before. The reaction was for Sonny.
Yep. And how about best performer of the night?
I'm
going to go Mankind.
Yeah, I would as well. It's Mick Foley. Kane did a great job, but he was the wall for Mick Foley to run into. And he did a great job as that wall. And he does a great job as that wall for a couple
Many years.
Yeah.
Many years.
A couple of years. He obviously becomes less of a wall as time goes on, kind of similar to the way that Undertaker has been...
Got to evolve.
Yeah, has evolved, like, gone kind of, back and forth to being the stoic monster and the more human wrestler.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Mick Foley, like, Owen and Austin was... too short. It was good, but Mick Foley made a meal of
and
what
there's
he
too many
had.
bad feelings in the main event.
Yeah, if anybody else was in there with Kane, like Kane might not have been a thing that lasted. That was kind of the like make or break moment for that character, and they had the perfect guy to make sure that it happened.
And how about most surprising?
I was surprised at how much the end of it was cut off, which when I was watching it, I was like, well, maybe that's how the show ended, because the editing wasn't like particularly.
I know. I kept looking in the background to see if Brett was doing the WCW while Sean was going up the ramp, because I was like, I know he does it.
Yeah, but it could have been a different camera, so I was like, well, maybe that I just have watched the Hitman documentary and other stuff to where I've thought, whereas what I've seen is like camera cuts that weren't put on television or whatever, or they were the Brett's crew that was making the documentary at the time, or blah blah blah. But Shane watched it live, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I trust him.
And it was a what?
Yeah.
I was surprised at how tense I was going into that last match.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It
what's gonna happen.
It makes no sense, but I was just
yeah. But those guys,
I mean. That's when you know That's when you know wrestling's got you, because you're so into it.
I mean, I've never done heroin. I don't plan on it, but when they say you chase the dragon. Wrestling is similar in that way that you get into it, you get too heavy into it, and then you're waiting for that moment that was exciting. Those moments that were exciting when you first started watching it. You learn too much, and those moments become fewer and further between. But when they happen, feels good, man.
I'm trying to think of most surprising for me, but I don't know if I have one, aside from not knowing that they'd been interested in Steve Blackman for almost 10 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was crazy as well when I read that.
Sid was the driver.
Sid shot JR.
It was all a dream.
Sid stabbed JR. It was all a dream.
And now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The dusty finish.
The Nature Boy Ric Flair had held the WCW World Heavyweight Championship for the past few months when he made his way to Albany, Georgia for Monday Night Nitro on April 22nd, 1996 to face the Giant. The previous Nitro had seen the two team up when miscommunication happened and coffee was thrown straight into the Giant's face, angering the big man. And as the match gets going, Nate makes Giant give chase, only for him to catch Flair going to the top and press slamming him down to the mat. The big man goes for a chokeslam, but the Nature Boy blocks by tying himself up in the ropes. And after a low blow, Flair's got the Giant down to a knee to deliver a brass knucks punch, allowing him to go for the figure four. But the big man sits up, grabbing Nate by the throat for a chokeslam to make the pin to become WCW World Heavyweight Champion for the second time. The Giant would defend the title over the next few months when an old foe would make a challenge in the hills of South Dakota. Next week, World War III, 1997.
We complain about Havoc.
And then we turn around and get World War III. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Run to the hills.
Music from this week's show is Mega Breath by D. Todd Sorensen and Shawn Michaels won our main event.
He did.
So we play Sexy Boy by Jimmy Hart and J.J. Maguire. If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars and no stars. Do it for Brad.
Don't do a screw job on us.
That's right. If you do, put it on ice with some brown sugar.
Yeah. We got brown sugar loogies.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns.
We are going to Michigan for World War III. I'm going to need some ideas because I know we've been to Michigan before. I think we've actually been to Auburn Hills before.
Yeah, it was where Nitro 100 was.
Ah, okay. Well, then, yeah. I don't know if I should be excited or not, but I need ideas either way. I've never been to Michigan. Give me something. What should I make? What should I bring? What kind of beverages? Is there any kind of a snack that you ate while you were in Michigan one time that is available on Amazon that I could order?
There has to be a cocktail called the 1 for 3.
Probably so. I don't know if this is the right time to be making one of those. May inspire something for the future.
It's nuclear fallout.
Yeah. But yeah, slide into our DMs, shoot us an email, something, talk to us. Tell me what you thought. What did you think? Have you watched this match in 27 years? You may have, a little bit. He's one of the 4 who did.
Yeah. This is not a one-man screw job.
No. If you have any of those things, you can email us at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTO X. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.